Welcome back, y'all. This is episode 2 of the 2Ballers podcast featuring me and my boy Hunter. As we know, the draft just concluded and free agency is taking its time. I'm gonna kick it off to you, Hunter. Just give me your thoughts on the draft and we'll start with that.
Yeah, so it was a I would say, kind of interesting draft. We saw a little bit of drama, but not too much. Just to give some crazy historical facts on this draft. One, it was 18 freshmen who were picked in the first round of the draft. Um, we also saw that this was the first time since 2009 that Kentucky did not have a first round pick. And then first time since 2007 that John Calipari has not produced a first round pick. And we know John Calipari was the king of the one and done. I mean, at the drafts, he was going from table to table to table because he had so many guys in the first round. Actually in the lottery, if you want to know the truth. But that
Especially
did,
at Kentucky.
yes, but that was not the case this year. Honestly, we saw a lot of trades going on throughout the draft. I'll say one team that I think whose draft stood out to me, who I kind of did not understand what they were doing, was the Brooklyn Nets. They had five first round picks, and to be quite honest with you, I don't think they did not spend them very well at all. But with these drafts, it's so hard to predict post draft how things will turn out, but we shall think we shall see. I definitely think some early winners from this draft. I actually think so. Once again, the Oklahoma City Thunder did a great job of drafting. They get Thomas Sorber from Georgetown, a really good center who was just made a huge impact on Georgetown, and a guy who they can bring in kind of backup Chet and Hardenstein, and they're in no rush to play him. So I think that was something that really stood out to me, that they took advantage of their first round pick, their early first round pick to get a center. But no, really, really good draft though. We kind of saw the drama towards the end with Liam McNeely and Danny Wolf waiting in the green room to get drafted. You're wondering, are they going to get drafted? Or are they not? Like that has to be one of the worst feelings, to just be sitting in the green room just waiting for your name to be called, and because they have to wait a long time.
That's half the battle. I tell you, that is half the battle is waiting for your phone call, waiting for your phone to ring to pick up the phone. Man, I'll say from my perspective, from what I saw, a couple teams I looked at, one team specifically I saw that I feel they won, San Antonio Spurs. The San Antonio Spurs. Man, they got Dylan Harper. We all know about Dylan Harper. Nice point guard. Big, big, strong, can get to the rim, can shoot it a little bit. Carter Bryant, very good defensively, can stretch the floor. He's a forward, so he can do it all. Defense, rebound, score. That's a do it all forward. Now, I'm a Hawks fan for those who don't know. And from what I saw from our class from the draft, I feel like we got a good pick out of Ace Newell. I feel like that's somebody we needed to come in and get rebounds for us and use his size and play well. So I feel like the Hawks definitely did something good with their draft pick, especially since we just got Kristaps Porzingis as well.
Yeah, no, I think y'all are definitely headed in the right direction. I think we'll see what y'all can do. Offensively, I think you guys with Quinn Snyder, one of the really good offensive coach. I think, you got some guys he can kind of mess around with now. And so I think that'll be really exciting. Then if we're talking about, since you're going to talk about your favorite team, I guess I'll talk about mine and the Lakers, what they did drafting Adu Thiero out of Arkansas. I like the pick. I was thinking we might go more center, but we get a wing who can defend, very athletic. He definitely needs to work on his outside shot. But I think he has great potential, and if the Lakers develop him right, can get him to just a good outside shot. Didn't think he'll be on the floor a lot, but he'll automatically brings defense, which is something if you watch that Timberwolves series, Lakers desperately needed because the Timberwolves were just torching them on defense, and it was embarrassing to watch and frustrating to watch, screaming at TVs, you know, you know.
That's for sure. Hey, another team I looked at that I feel is low-key underrated, the Pelicans. They
Mm.
got my boy Jeremiah Fears at 7, point guard, can shoot the lights out, got handles like no other. I thought he was gonna fall in the draft, even though he was still a lottery pick. I thought he was gonna fall, but he didn't. I'm surprised he even went first round. That shocked me. And then they got Derek Queen, obviously from Atlanta. Um, big dude, big size, can rebound, score. I feel like the Pelicans are about to do something special. They're about to be on the rise for sure. I feel like they got they got some dudes that can play. They got Jordan Poole in free agency, so I feel like he can definitely help Jeremiah Fears develop and definitely learn some things as he gets adjusted to the league and things like that. So that's definitely something to look forward to.
For sure, for sure. And there's a lot going on in the draft too, but you can't talk about every team. And so now we're gonna move on to some of those guys that kind of were undrafted and signed two-way contracts. And I think the guy who I'm going to start out with, the guy who signed with the Lakers, leading scorer in the NCAA last season out of Villanova, Eric Dixon, a guy who can stretch the floor, get to the basket. Really kind of carried Villanova last season. They kind of ran a lot through him at the point, kind of almost point center kind of. He was kind of initiating offense. Just some other names too. You had Caleb Love, Mark Sears, some guard.
RJ Davis, Caleb Love and RJ Davis were my two. Man, I don't know how they felt. I don't know how they fell undrafted. I thought they would have been picked. I thought they would have gotten drafted for sure. Because you look at Caleb Love, really good guard, can shoot it, can defend well, play make, obviously. Mark Sears, pure scorer, lefty, really good guard. Man, RJ Davis is tough.
Yeah,
RJ Davis was tough. He was former teammates with Caleb Love, for those who don't know, in North Carolina. They were a very good backcourt duo when they made that run in the tournament and went to the Final Four. They
yeah,
they were a very, very good duo.
yeah, they were. And also some notable guys too. You had Hunter Dickinson out of Kansas, who he's finally he's done playing college basketball. I
What was it, 6, 7 years in college?
think it was six. Yeah,
All the COVID years, man. I'm trying to tell you.
it was 6 years, and it felt like it was longer than six. He was just
He's
hanging around.
full.
Uh, but hey, I mean, you might as well use up all your eligibility while you can. But he went undrafted. You also had Grant Nelson out of Alabama too.
Real nice.
Yeah,
Real nice.
stretch big who can uh, can knock down threes. He definitely, I think, showed improvement. His ability to get to the basket as well. And so I think for all these guys who got undrafted, they'll have an opportunity in the summer league to kind of prove themselves. And eventually, I think you'll see some of these guys on NBA rosters full time. And all they need is an opportunity. I think we've seen in the past that guys who have gone this route have turned out to be, successful in some cases as long as they take advantage of that opportunity that they'll get in the summer league. So. I think this was kind of one of the exciting parts about Summer League is we'll get a chance to see some of these guys who didn't get drafted and who are on these two-way contracts right now and will have a chip on their shoulder. Like they're gonna be coming ready to play against these dudes who got drafted ahead of them and to prove why they should have been drafted. And I think that's kind of one of the exciting parts about the summer league for sure.
Hey, just like my boy Jeremiah Veer said in his interview, hey, I'm coming for everybody that got drafted in front of me. I really, really like his confidence. For him
Yeah.
specifically, I really like his confidence. He's a really good guard. He's he's definitely someone I'm be watching for sure.
For sure. Sure. The pride of Joliet, Illinois. Shout out Illinois guy for sure. They had an amazing year at Oklahoma. Wish they had a better season so we could have, seen him make a run in the tournament. But he made an impact there right away. And should be excited to watch him in the league and watch him develop and grow in New Orleans. And obviously, I think, you know, the direction where New Orleans is going, we don't really know right now. So we don't know how long he's going to be in New Orleans, but he's definitely an asset for them. And I think he's gonna turn out to be a pretty good player, if you ask me.
Real. That's real. Hey, what are your opinions on the Ace Bailey situation? I gotta ask because we now know he's about his draft speculation. We know what happened. VJ Edge come with third. I was right on that.
Yeah,
Hey,
you were. Yeah.
I was right on that pick. But Ace Bailey, for those who don't know, went fifth overall to the Utah Jazz. Was in some speculation about him looking like he didn't want to be in Utah just based off his initial reaction after he got picked. Um, didn't touch down in Utah till last Saturday. But he got off the plane and went straight to the gym. So I guess he's got a chip on his shoulder ready to go prove himself.
Yeah.
What do you think about that, Hunter?
I think it's a we'll see. I think with Ace Bailey, obviously there was this whole speculation that he was going to hold out and not report, and he shut that down by showing up to the press conference and getting right into the gym. I think for him, I think his mindset has to be just you got to prove people you want to be in Utah at the end of the day. Like it's actually not a bad basketball situation at all. Um, they're a young core, still trying to figure things out, but he's in a place where I think he could be himself and be able to kind of, play that suits his game very well. A guy who could be on the ball a lot, can kind of do his own thing where he's not under a lot of pressure either. And so I think the biggest thing for him is just, trusting his instincts and, making sure that he just performs well. And so people aren't, bringing up this whole thing about, oh, you didn't want to be in Utah. Just shut that to bed by just playing well and playing consistently well every night. I think that's going to be the big thing for him.
That's what I like when we talk about like people with players with chips on their shoulders and having the ability to prove himself. Like with Utah, obviously, like you said, they have a young core. They're gonna have a really good point guard in Isaiah Collier, who's been playing really well. He'll continue to develop. But Ace Bailey, he's put in a position where they may even play through him. He's
Yeah.
he's a do it all forward, can score at all three levels, shoot over people. I mean, you look at his size, like 6'10", can shoot the lights out, can handle it a little bit. He's got a little guard forward in him, so hey, yeah, it's definitely exciting to see for sure.
Yeah, and also they still have Walker Kessler too right now. And so if it looked like he's gonna be staying with the Jazz, I think that's a great big to kind of have alongside Ace, and I think they could do some good things together as well. So I think it'll be exciting to watch. I think Utah just not necessarily make the playoffs or anything, but just to see growth in their young players. As I think a few years from now, potentially they can be a team that we might be saying, is in the playoffs. And I think what we saw with any team run by Danny Ainge is eventually they'll be in contention for the finals at some point. He's going to be aggressive and making moves. And so I wouldn't be surprised if a few years from now we are seeing the Utah Jazz, making some noise in a very, very difficult Western Conference.
For sure, no doubt. Hey, my personal opinion. I feel like the Western Conference won the draft. I think the Western Conference won the draft for sure. It's based off of all the talent. Obviously, Cooper Flag. We all knew he was going number one. Nobody was surprised there.
That was easy. That
That
was
was that was real easy. Dylan Harper, San Antonio, real good guard. But I feel like the West Coast, the Western Conference, they got a lot of talent, and they definitely won this draft for sure. The East, definitely. I will. I will give them credit. Some of the teams they picked well. They got who they wanted. They got what they needed, especially in Philly's situation. They got VJ Edgecombe, a guy who can. He's an energizer. He can play through 1 through 3. He can score. Can defend. He's athletic. Um, yeah, he'll probably play back up to Paul George, obviously. And I feel like in his situation, it set him up really nicely because Paul George can be a mentor to him. So he
yeah.
can be able to learn the ropes of the game and how to adjust and things like that. So that's going to be interesting to see as we go forward through summer league and as we continue towards the NBA season.
Yeah, I think it'll be interesting as well. I mean, I with Philly though, I think everything is obviously about health, mainly Joel Embiid's, and to be honest with you, they just need to have a better season than last because last season was just absolutely horrendous for them. You have a team of Joel Embiid and Paul George, and you don't even make the playoffs. Like that's kind of inexcusable. I know with injuries and stuff, but still, there's a reason why they're picking number third in the draft because they were not good last year.
And
But
you have Tyrese Maxey as well.
yeah, yeah. I mean, they have a nice group together. It's can they stay healthy? Like that's the one thing that's haunted Philly, and this whole process thing has been going on for I don't know how many years at this point. It's like we're past the process. It's Embiid is hurt every year. Like I
Too many years of seeing Joel Embiid injured in the playoffs. Man, I tell you, bro. I tell you, it sucks because every year Philly fans go crazy. They'll be like, "Oh yeah, Philly's gonna make the playoffs this year, yada yada yada." Then they can't make it past the second round. Like, I feel like VJ Escombe and him being picked third to the Sixers will be a bit of a spark plug for them to be able to make the playoffs and continue, hopefully get over the hump. Hopefully, because I know Philly fans are tired of seeing their team not make it to the next round of the playoffs, especially past the second round, which is like, man, I don't know, man. We gonna see. We gonna see.
it's a lot of it is, a wait and see with I think with the draft, and we probably won't even know this year. Like it's going to take a few years down the line to see some of these guys impact on their team, and can they consistently do it? Like I think that's the one thing people have to be careful of is like judging, these rookies based off their first year. Is like can they consistently perform at a good level every season? And so we'll see the impact they make with their teams, 5 years from now, even I think 2, 3 years down the line, like where are they at? And so I think that'll be the big, thing to see exactly who won this draft. We know we'll probably have this conversation, 2 maybe 2 years down the line, might be even thinking about even like repicking some of these guys based off the way they've played in the league. And so I think that's the exciting part just about the draft and the league is that it's kind of a wait and see because we never know what's going to happen. We never know what opportunities might open up for these guys. And so, that's kind of what I'm excited about. Like, some fresh, obviously new faces in the league. Obviously, with them being a lot of freshmen, it's a lot of young guys. And so, who's gonna, who's gonna be the face of this group? I think that's gonna be interesting to see. Because it kind of feels like right now all the attention kind of on Cooper Flag, but in a few years from now, it might not be Cooper Flag. Like who, like we don't know.
We don't know, but I feel like with Cooper Flag's situation, him being drafted to Dallas, I feel like he was put in a good spot for him.
Oh yeah.
Um, he has AD, Derek Lively, Kyrie. He's got a lot of vets around him that can kind of show him the ropes and help him adjust. Like he said, he can soak it all in and just be a sponge and really just grasp and understand the game. Obviously, play within himself, and they're gonna play within him. Um, I feel like with with them trading Luca, I guess Nico Harrison gets all his he's laughing because he
Yeah,
got the number
Nico,
one pick in the draft.
yeah. I mean, Nico kind of lucked into this one. He kind of, I think, probably saved him after the Luka trade. Because Mavs fans were not too pleased with that one. They
At
were
all.
fire Nico at basically every home game. And so with Cooper, that's like his saving grace right now. And so I think it'll be interesting to see how Cooper plays. And also with the signing of D'Angelo Russell as well, I think that'll be an interesting pairing. I think they can run a lot of, I think pick and roll through them and a lot of, you know, two-man action. We're talking about ball screens, handoffs. And also, I think we saw this at Duke is initiating offense through Cooper Flag. That's something that Jason Kidd has mentioned is, even kind of having him at the point while Kyrie is, recovering from his injury, having Cooper at the point and having him running offense because he did that at Duke and was pretty successful. Now, obviously, it's going to be different in the league, but Jason Kidd was talking about in summer league about trying that out and making him uncomfortable. And I mean, Jay Kidd's a really good coach, and he knows what he's doing. And I don't blame him for trying to test out things with Cooper Flag. He's the number one overall pick. He can all around skills. Like, why not? Like, why
Hey,
not?
you got a generational talent in Cooper Flag. You better utilize him. You better utilize him to his full potential.
For sure.
Utilize your draft pick. You selected him number one for a reason. I'm expect obviously Cooper Flag is gonna have a lot of expectations coming in, considering how good of a year he had at Duke. And considering his resume in high school, he's a generational talent. So he's obviously going to have expectations, high expectations coming in from a lot of the fans, and a lot of fans are going to look forward to seeing him do what he does as he continues to grow and gets adjusted to the league. But I feel like Dallas definitely got one in Cooper Flag. Um, they got one.
No, they absolutely did, and it should be exciting to see Dallas too. I think they'll be right there in the mix. And kind of speaking of free agency, which has been very, very busy and moving around crazy. Pieces are going places we didn't expect them to go. So I guess I'll hand this one off to you, Kellen. Kind of what are your kind of overall thoughts on this free agency period?
Yeah, man. Free agency is definitely a time. A lot of teams are making moves. I'll give one example. The Milwaukee Bucks.
Yeah,
They waived Damian Lillard after a couple years in Milwaukee. Um he was injured. So I feel like that is definitely a factor that played into it. Um And now, obviously, with the Giannis speculation, we don't know what he's gonna do going forward. But for those who don't know, they just signed Miles Turner for a 4-year deal, I believe, something like that. It was a 4-year deal. So with Indiana losing Miles Turner, um, we gonna see what happens in the East.
yeah, the East is wide open. The East is wide open. I think a team, if we're going to talk about the Eastern Conference, who is kind of think right there in contention is I think the Orlando Magic. Like they signed Tyus Jones, they bring in the trade for Desmond Bane. They merely improved their shooting, which for the past 2 years was the one thing that they've been lacking. And
Sure.
they feel a big need. It opens the floor up for Paulo. And I think watch out for the Magic in the East. That is basically anyone's at this point. I was obviously I'm still a little bit skeptical about Milwaukee. Uh,
I am too. I
yeah,
am.
I'm skeptical about Milwaukee just because they have, I think Giannis in his health. I think you have to also have to look at the fact that like Doc Rivers has not had success recently in the kind of in the playoffs. And Milwaukee, ever since they won that championship, it seems like injuries have always kind of plagued them for sure. And if we're talking about free agency, I think one team I would like to talk on my Lakers real quick because they've had a very interesting free agency.
Y'all finally got a center.
Yeah,
Hey.
Andre Aiden. I think some of us were especially worried if Rob Pelinka realized it actually was free agency. We saw all these teams making moves, and we find out this report from Shams that no, Rich Paul, told understands that the Lakers are concerned about the future, but LeBron wants to go to a team that can win a championship, and so now you have that out there. And yeah, the Lakers got DeAndre Ayton now, so that should be exciting. I think we'll see which DeAndre Ayton the Lakers will get. We're gonna get the peak Phoenix DeAndre Ayton, which was a pretty good center, which is a good center, or we're gonna get kind of this Portland DeAndre Ayton, which wasn't the greatest. But
It
he's got
wasn't as effective, I will say. From Phoenix, you could tell he was a dominant big, could score, block shots, rebound, defend. And then he gets to Portland, it's like he kind of disappeared.
yeah, it was concerning. Uh, but I think we'll see for sure. And I think can LeBron and Luca get the best out of him? I think that's the big thing. I think more so Luca than anything, because this is now. I feel like to an extent, I think both LeBron, Rich Paul, and the Lakers have made it clear that this is going to be Luca's team going forward, and they're
Mhm.
they're planning for a team around Luka Doncic. And so
Mhm.
I think that'll be exciting. But they need to get the center. They finally did after they struck out on just about every other center that was available, which was kind of frustrating to watch. You saw Brook Lopez go to the Clippers, Clint Capella back to the Rockets, and you're like, okay, are the Lakers going to get a center? DeAndre Ayton was their last hope. And to be quite honest with you, if they had not gotten DeAndre Ayton, I don't know what they would have done. I guess they would have figured out something, but I would have been concerned for sure because that was a glaring need as well for the Lakers. But he does have, they're putting a lot of trust in him because right now he's their only true big, and like respectfully, when you have I think Luca and LeBron out there defensively, you're not the greatest and you're going to need DeAndre Ayton to really be an elite shot blocker. And I don't think we've quite seen him reach that full potential yet. And so I think it'll be interesting to see if the Lakers can get that out of him. Now, if they can, that's great for them. And I think it opens up, a chance for them to make a run. I still don't think they're better than OKC right now, who seems I think they've had a really good, you know, off free agency too. They re-signed Shea and uh, Jalen Williams.
Supermax, he got his Supermax deal.
Jalen Williams, so they're not going to be that far away at all either. And so I think also another team who has made some good moves is like the Denver Nuggets. Like I think the Nuggets sent a clear message. They got a bench now. And so I think it should be exciting to watch what the Nuggets do and just see the rest of this free agency too. Because trust me, this will not be the last episode that we are talking about free agency because
At
there's
also,
going to be more moves to come for sure.
like I said in the first video, stay tuned. We got plenty more in store, especially as as we move into July and August and going forward towards summer league, we're obviously going to hear more about everybody's future and what plans and what moves teams need to make and what moves they're going to make. Speaking of moves being made, Mike Brown,
Yeah,
head coach of
yeah,
the Knicks.
yeah. Well, they finally got a coach. First of all, it felt like
Hey,
the
hey,
fired team to the
shout out to
Eastern.
New York for getting a coach for the
It took
one
them a
time they needed a coach after firing Tom Thibodeau after they made the playoffs for consecutive years. Man,
yeah. It
I
took a while. I was like, who are they gonna hire? And
they kept denying all these coaches who wanted the opportunity to potentially coach the Knicks.
yeah, well, also part of the problem is they were trying to hire coaches who were under contract with their current teams, and they were like, yeah, no, thank you. Like they tried to get Jason Kidd, and Nico Harrison was like, no, I already traded Luca. I can't let Jason Kidd go. I mean, they would he that would be I mean, Nico would have been in so much trouble. Hey, let Jay Kidd go. I forgot who else they
They
got
just
Vogel on staff, which is I think that it's a good move for Vogel. Um, after that, after that does that season the season in Phoenix, and so I think that's a good hire by Kidd. But yeah, the Knicks were just trying to hire coaches who were under contract at other teams, and they're like, yeah, no. And so I think Mike Brown actually brings them, something. He brings experience as a head coach. I think he brings the offensive mindset to the Knicks, which with the team that they have right now, I think that's something that they were looking to have is to kind of just revamp, kind of their offense and as good as they were defensively under Tibbs, offensively you just sometimes question what were they doing? Were they using guys the right way? I think Mike Brown can unlock some things out of these guys. The King, and he knows how to turn teams around. Uh, he obviously turned around a Kings team that was like worse than this Knicks team, and so I think Mike Brown could definitely get them in the playoffs. And maybe maybe to the finals. I think with how wide open the East is going to be this year, though, I think the Knicks have a chance. Uh, but I think for them they have to just take advantage of the opportunity, and so I think that'll be the most important thing. And they still, I think, can't lose some of those defensive, principles and kind of traits that they had under Tibbs, because you can combine a good Mike Brown offense and some really good defense. I think the Knicks are right there.
for sure. And the one thing he also brings is winning.
Yeah,
Winning. He's been on 4 championship teams. I feel like that's a great hire for them. And I feel like my 3 teams for the East that I'm gonna be looking out for, the Sixers, the Knicks, and the Magic. The Western Conference, we all know how wide open that is. But in terms of Eastern Conference, it's the Knicks to lose, the Sixers to lose, and the Magic.
yeah. I think the Magic for sure. I think the Sixers. I don't know about the Sixers though. Like I'll have to see it to believe it with the Sixers. Like I don't, I just don't trust them at this point. That's my biggest thing. Like I just do not trust them. The Embiid health thing is like just I don't know. It's always in the back of my mind in the playoffs. It's like he he's never 100% in the playoffs. And even when he plays, he's like 80%. And then next thing you know, he can barely move. And now their season is done. I mean, they haven't made it to the Eastern Conference Finals at all with Embiid. And, I think sometimes you just wonder, are they ever going to? Um,
Right. Um, you got anything else?
No, I'm straight. I said everything for today. I have said everything I need to say for today. Just stay tuned for sure. More free agency coming, summer league trades, 'cause you know these trades be happening at all times of the day, in the middle of the night while we're sleeping, early in the morning. We're trying to, get ready for work and stuff. So, I guess just have your phones ready, all times, it might be, one day we might have to, come on, do an emergency pod, who knows, find out, LeBron's gotten traded from the Lakers, who knows? I feel like
Man,
I've
at this point, he about to mess around and retire. He only got about a year left.
yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah, well, yeah, who knows? Who knows with LeBron? Obviously, he took his player option. Um, So yeah, who knows? I actually wouldn't be surprised if the Lakers traded him at this point. I'm not gonna lie. As crazy as that sounds,
As crazy as that may sound, I feel like that's realistically what could happen. But at the same time, like we
he
said, it's
doesn't
free
have a trade
agency.
market right now. I mean, that's the thing. And he doesn't have a trade market. And teams would have to clear up so much cap space to take him that I don't think anybody is. So
No, I doubt it.
I think
I definitely doubt it.
he'll spend this last year with the Lakers, and then after that, I think we'll see. I think he could, I think this definitely realistically could be his last year for sure.
For sure. As for me, I don't really have anything else other than, hey, just stay tuned. We got more coming, more content on the way. Definitely tap into the free agency because there's gonna be a lot more moves being made. This is episode 2 of the 2Ballers podcast featuring me and my boy Hunter. We appreciate y'all for tuning in and hey, we out.
Yes, we out.